Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, your boy Samson Biggz, and we are going to do a reaction video to this fitness muscle building tip video called 9 Tips That Will Help Your Chest Grow. As you can see, I have a huge chest, so we'll take a look at this and see if this information is good or bad or whatever.
Building up your chest can be very challenging for many guys, especially the upper portion of the chest. But developing your chest will enhance your physique, and it'll make everyday tasks like opening a door, getting up off the floor, and lifting heavy objects much easier.
First off, see this video, there's a lot of going into different things, a lot of clips, this, clips that. It's all bullcrap. It's made to entertain you, but I mean, a lot of people, they're not, the best kind of advice you get is from somebody talking to you, right? So don't get all hyped up over, little crappy, this is why I don't understand why people just, they fall for this stuff. It's like, this isn't, whatever, let's just keep going.
Unfortunately, many guys are stuck, unable to act.
Like showing you a picture of Spider-Man. Like, what's the point of this? You're trying to build your chest. What's the point of putting up a video of Spider-Man? I just
add
don't.
Any more muscle mass to their pecs. So today I want to go over some solid tips that are backed by science and proven to help your chest grow.
Okay, and that's another thing. Backed by science. Guys, don't sit there and say, oh, backed by science. Don't worry about backed by science, okay? There are people that have done this before you. Guys with big chests who know how to build the chest, okay? Don't worry about backed by science. Who cares what's backed by science, okay? Talk to the guys with the big chest if you want a big chest. Simple as that.
Grow. And the first one is to use a bodybuilding bench press style rather than a powerlifting one. Now I know I might get some flack for this since bench pressing like a powerlifter seems to be very trendy lately, but I'd like to go over some of the differences. The main difference between the two bench pressing styles is that with the powerlifting bench press, you would focus on keeping the range of motion as short as possible because that helps you lift the most amount of weight possible.
Okay, that's another thing. Range of motion.
The two main ways that you can decrease your range of motion are by either using a wider grip or by creating a more pronounced arc in your lower back to bring your body closer to the bar. On the other hand, a bodybuilding bench pressing style would still require you to keep your back arched, but much less of an arc in order to increase the range of motion.
Okay, first of all, he's got it completely backwards. Completely backwards. This is just wrong. Okay. Increasing the range of motion. First of all, anybody who knows bodybuilding, anybody who's built their chest up, range of motion is not important. Range of motion is not important. I repeat, don't fall for range of motion lies and propaganda, okay? If you look at bodybuilders, look at the big bodybuilders. Look at Ronnie Coleman. Watch the way Ronnie Coleman benches. Is he doing full range of motion? No. He's doing half reps. Okay, he's doing quarter reps. Look at all the bodybuilders, most of them with the huge muscles, including myself. We do half reps. We do quarter reps. We don't do full range of motion. Okay? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Plus, you're going to get a lot more muscle growth when you're not doing full range of motion. Okay? Powerlifters do full range of motion. That's where he's wrong. He's wrong. He's saying powerlifters try to get away with not doing full range of motion, but that's not true. Powerlifters do full range of motion. That's their whole point, is going all the way down and going all the way up. Sure, some of them will, try and get their hands out as far as possible. I'm thinking girls and stuff, but most powerlifters are doing a full range of motion, okay? Bodybuilders are not doing full range of motion. We're doing the opposite, okay? We're doing half reps, okay? We're keeping that muscle in that stretched position, okay?
That's because for maximum muscle growth, it's simply better to train your muscles through a full range of motion, thanks to 3 main benefits. The first is that a full range of motion on the bench press will produce higher levels of muscle activation. Second, different parts of a movement emphasize different parts of a muscle, and by going through a full range of motion, you're able to train the muscle in its entirety. And third, it's beneficial to overload your muscles in their stretched position. And going through a partial range of motion isn't able to do that quite as well as a full range of motion.
Okay, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. If you're going to get the most benefit out of the stretch position, then why would you do the full range of motion? Wouldn't you just keep that range in the stretch position? Yes. This guy. I don't know why people are so like 2 million views for this video. I mean, and it's the first 2 minutes of it is crap. Okay, you guys are learning crap from guys like this.
So, if your goal is to maximize muscle growth, a bodybuilding bench pressing style is more effective than a powerlifting one. Another thing that'll help is to focus on pressing your hands inwards during barbell bench pressing and dumbbell hex pressing movements. This is a simple technique adjustment that you can use to maximize chest.
Again, guys, listen. Full range of motion is not important, okay? So when you're trying to bench press, don't focus on pushing your hands together. That's not what you're trying to do. You're not trying to push your hands together when you're benching, okay? In fact, even when you're using dumbbells, you don't even have to worry about pushing up and pushing the dumbbells together. Keep it down here, keep it in the stretch position. Your muscles are all gonna work, okay? That whole, oh, you're only working a little bit of the muscle. Give me a break, okay? Muscles are in a stretch position or they're in a flex position. Either way, it doesn't matter, okay? If you want to grow your muscles big like mine, okay, don't worry about full range of motion, guys.
Chest growth. When you're bench pressing, imagine that you're trying to bring your hands together. This obviously won't happen because the barbell is fixed and it won't bend, but by focusing on squeezing your hands together, it'll increase chest activation because one of the primary functions of your chest is to perform shoulder horizontal adduction, which is basically a fancy way of describing bringing your arms from really wide out at your sides in together towards the midline of your body. So by squeezing your hands together on the bar, even though your hands will stay in the same fixed position, it'll increase the tension placed on your chest.
Yeah, don't focus on that.
The next thing you should do if you've consistently been training for some time now is to increase chest workout frequency, or in other words, simply train your chest more often. This doesn't apply to beginners because if you're new to the gym, research shows that you only have to train each muscle just once per week for optimal gains. So as a beginner,
right there, I mean, that's good. If you're starting out, yeah, sure, you can, train your chest once a week. I prefer it a little bit more though. I think if you're the newer you are, the more you should be training your chest, right? With less weight, right? So you're doing kind of like you're getting used to it. You're learning the game. That's why you're not breaking yourself down. So that way you can do bench press 3 times a week. In fact, I believe if you're new, you should be doing full body workouts because that way you can learn everything a lot faster.
Beginner, you can follow a typical bro split by, for example, training chest, shoulders, and triceps on Monday, legs on Wednesday, and back and biceps on Friday. You can also spread the training volume out over more sessions and just focus on one muscle group per day. The point is that as a beginner, hitting each muscle just once a week is enough to grow. However, once you've passed the beginner stage and you can no longer increase the weight you use almost every workout, you'll need a higher training frequency to maximize gains, as shown by 2016 systematic review and meta-analysis. The researchers concluded that training twice a week promotes more muscle growth compared to just once a week. And another analysis found similar results, attributing much better muscle and strength gains for each additional workout per muscle.
These science reports are just ridiculous. Like, guys, go to the guys with the big chest, okay? Just stop playing around. Stop reading science reports, okay? Okay, there are people on YouTube, guys with huge freaking chests. Just do what they do. Just do what they do. It's really simple. It's really not hard. You guys make it so hard, but it's really quite easy.
Per week. Even when total training volume was similar between the groups that weight down until their arm is just the volume per week to stimulate chest growth. But overall, as an intermediate or advanced lifter, it's ideal to train each muscle at least twice per week. And sometimes they won't even get to parallel before pressing back up. It's important to understand that when you perform a pressing exercise, the lockout portion of the movement is primarily done by your triceps instead of your chest, which is more engaged during the lower portion of the press. So if you only lower the dumbbells halfway down, you're not going to optimally stimulate your chest. Instead, you're going to place most of the emphasis on your triceps. So make sure to fully lower the weight unless you have some shoulder problems that lead to pain when you bring the bar or dumbbells too low. Otherwise, if you have healthy shoulders, you should try lowering the bar until it touches your chest. When you train with dumbbells, you can actually lower the weight even further. So make sure you take advantage of that if you're trying to add muscle to your pecs. The next chest growth tip is very important for those of you that are stuck at a plateau.
Again, that goes back to full range of motion. Full range of motion is not necessary, okay? It's not necessary. I'm telling you guys, you don't need to worry about full range of motion. If you can only do half reps, do half reps. I don't care. Do those half reps, okay? Sometimes half reps is going to get you to the next level, okay? And yeah, the stretch position is a great position to work, but also the flex position is a great position to work too, right? You can build your chest by doing all kinds of different reps. You don't have to just go all the way up and all the way down, okay?
Oh, you'll want to alternate the amount of weight and reps that you do for your major chest exercises. Research suggests that training with a wide range of different rep targets produces more muscle growth than always sticking with the standard 8 to 12 reps per set. Groups gained a significant constant rep resistance training routine where they performed each set for 8 to 12 reps. Meanwhile, the other group performed a varied rep routine. Participants in this group switched up their rep ranges each workout. So they would perform 8 to 12 reps on one day, then 20 to 30 reps the next day, and finally only 2 to 4 reps on the following training day. Both groups did this for 8 weeks, and even though both groups gained a significant amount of strength and muscle mass, the researchers noted that muscle growth effect sizes were more favorable for the varied group over the constant group. While the differences between the groups weren't...
Well, the reason why the group with the varied is because they use the higher reps, okay? Guys, I want you to do high reps. I want you to focus on high rep training. If you're trying to build muscle, you got to focus on high reps, okay? And when I say high reps, I'm not talking 15 reps. I'm not even talking 20 reps. I'm talking like 30, 40, 50 reps. Okay, that's going to get your muscles to really grow, okay? There's a reason why there's a lot of power lifters that are small. They can lift crazy poundage, but their muscles aren't growing. That's because they're not building up their muscle endurance. And muscle size is more muscle endurance than it is muscle strength. Actually, a right word would be muscle strength endurance. Okay? The more your muscles can do something, the bigger they're going to get. That's how it is, right? It's not about how much they can do. Like, there's a video online where there's a kid, he's like 135 and he can bench 405. But he's scrawny as it can be. And he's just strong, okay? Perfect example, Larry Wills. I mean, he's one of the strongest guys in the world, but he's not one of the biggest guys in the world. And that's because he does powerlifting, right? He doesn't do a ton of reps. Now he's been starting to do a lot more reps, and you see his muscles are growing more. So I want you doing more reps, guys.
Weren't huge, and the researchers concluded that both options can be effective for muscle growth. Based on the study, it seems varying your rep ranges has a slight advantage. This fits resistance to fatigue from the high rep, low weight sets. My personal recommendation that has worked well for me is to stick to one rep range for a few weeks before switching to a different rep range, as that will give you enough time to master that rep range and get stronger at it before you switch. My favorite rep ranges to switch between are a low 3 to 4 reps, a moderate 6 to 10 reps, and a high 12 to 20 reps. Another tip is to not go overboard with incline presses. It's all too common for someone to have a lagging upper chest because in almost all lifters, the upper chest is underdeveloped compared to the lower chest. The common advice for this issue is to just raise the incline on the bench to put extra emphasis on the upper chest. And even though this is a good strategy, many people go overboard with the angle because they think that the more inclined the bench is, the more they'll hit their upper chest. But a steep incline isn't necessarily better for upper chest development or 60 degrees. The reservation. These
Stop me! I went to the next video. Let me see if I can go back here.
building up your chest can be very activities by varying your weight load and chest development, or for chest growth 5 degrees produce.
Okay, so what he's telling you about incline, again, is false. Okay, you guys got to realize your body is one thing, right? It's one thing. Okay, you can't really just separate it and say, oh, this is chest, this is shoulders, this is arms. Yeah, we got that, but it's all one thing. It's all connected. Okay, so when you're doing your incline bench, guess what? Your chest is going to be working. Okay, when you're doing overhead press, guess what? Your chest is going to be working. Guess what? When you're doing back rows, your chest is going to be working. You guys understand what I'm saying? Everything you do, every part of your body is working together. Okay? It's all working together. There's always more than one thing going on. And there's more than one ways to build muscle. Okay? One thing's for sure. If you do overhead press, your chest is going to grow. It doesn't make sense, right? Well, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. But if you start doing overhead press a lot, your chest will start growing. But you're going like this. How can your chest grow? Hey, I don't know. I just know that it does. Okay? So, like this guy, he doesn't really understand the intricacies of muscle. He just, read some crappy science things. Okay, but there's a subtleties to it. There's little subtleties that you guys got to understand. Okay? And just reading science papers and saying, "Oh, this is what science says," that's not going to get you where you want to go. Okay? You want to get to that next level. So many people are stuck. There's so many people stuck because they don't understand the subtleties, and they're not willing to accept advice from guys who know the subtleties, whose experience beats science, guys. I'm telling you, experience beats science. Just keep going.
Significantly higher shoulder activation while decreasing chest activation. And the funny part is that most gym equipment manufacturers specifically perform cable presses. You see, one of the limitations of barbell and dumbbell presses is that you push your hands straight up instead of inwards. And if you squeeze your hands together, like we talked about earlier, it definitely helps to target the chest, but it still only creates an isometric contraction. Meanwhile, cables allow you to incorporate that horizontal adduction component that we were talking about earlier automatically throughout the entire movement because your hands are literally being pulled apart. Cable chest presses also provide other unique benefits. For example, cables allow you to train your chest through a full range of motion. Cables also provide a more favorable strength curve where the resistance is the same throughout the entire exercise. And cable exercises allow you to take smaller steps up in the weight load that you choose. This is beneficial because sometimes you won't be able to jump up in dumbbell weight by 5 pounds in a
I agree with this. This is good. Cable flies are one of the best chest exercises out there. I love it because a lot of times you don't go too heavy with it. A lot of people, they'll just rep it out, which is great. And yeah, but the full range of motion thing, guys, he's got to get over that full range of motion bullcrap. Okay, with cable flies, you don't need full range of motion. With everything, you don't need full range of motion.
in each hand, but you'll be able to slightly up the weight on the cable presses. This is why I encourage you to mix some cable pressing exercises into your routine. With that said, cable chest presses should be done seated or laying down. If you stand while doing them, the weight will pull you back and you're going to be challenged more so with stabilizing your body rather than actually training your chest. The next tip is to upgrade your flies. Most people perform flies with dumbbells on a flat or inclined bench with their hands in a neutral position. And even though this is totally fine and it will help with your chest development, you can get an added benefit by also performing cable chest flies with your hands in a pronated position. So your thumbs would be facing each other instead of your palms facing each other. Believe it or not, when your palms face each other, the chest muscle is in a disadvantageous position from a mechanical standpoint because the muscle fibers of the chest don't have a direct line of pull. By mixing in cable flies with your palms,
just millions of bodybuilders have been doing it wrong. Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the guys with the greatest chests in the world, he was doing it wrong. Oh yeah, what are you doing?
Facing down,
This
you can
is
train
ridiculous.
your chest from a position that makes it easier for your chest muscles to fire from. Keep in mind, you don't have to give up regular flies with your palms in a neutral position, but it's great to mix in this variation with your palms down as well. Also, there's a reason why I keep specifically referencing cables when it comes to flies, and that's because cable flies have a more favorable resistance curve than dumbbell flies. When you use dumbbells, the bottom portion of the fly requires a lot of effort, but as you get closer and closer to the top of the movement, you lose almost all the tension on your.
And this is why you don't go all the way up. This is why you do half reps when you're using dumbbells. It's called keeping the tension on the muscle. You don't have to go all the way up, guys. You don't have to go all the way up. I'll keep repeating this until you guys understand it, that you don't need full range of motion to build muscle. In fact, you build more muscle without
your chest.
Full range of
Using
motion.
cables fixes this by keeping the tension on your chest the whole time. Finally, I saved the most important tip for last, and that's to make sure that you're consistently trying to increase the weight load that you can lift for a particular rep range that you're targeting. Without applying progressive overload, you won't be able to add much muscle onto your chest past those initial beginner stages. So regardless of which rep range you're targeting, you need to use a weight load that's challenging, and you need to try to increase that weight load over time. Even increasing the weight by 5 pounds is a huge step forward. If you've been training for a while, upping your weight by just 5 to 10 pounds can take weeks or maybe even months. But by being consistent, those little increases will add up to big gains over time. Position your barbell and dumbbell pressing exercises towards the beginning of.
Progressive overload is important, but it's not the most important thing, like he's saying, okay? The most important thing is volume, okay? Volume, and then consistency. And the third most important thing, I would say, is half reps. Doing not full range of motion. That's the most important thing, okay? If you want to get big muscles, you want your muscles to grow big, don't do full range, guys. Do not do full range. Focus on that stretch position for the chest. Come down. And then just go up halfway. Okay? Do that. And you don't have to go extra heavy. A lot of guys think they have to go extra heavy. You don't have to go extra heavy. Keep it light. Keep it something you can do 30, 40, 50 reps. 50 reps like this. Boom. Okay? And it's simple. You don't have to get all fancy with it. You got your 5 chest exercises. You got your bench press. You got your incline bench press. Okay? You got your a dumbbell fly. You got your cable fly. Okay? Well, and it's a little bit more. Dips. Okay? And dumbbell pullover. Do not forget dumbbell pullover. Okay? Always end your chest exercise or your chest day with dumbbell pullovers. That's a big tip for you right there. It's your boy Samson Biggz, and I gotta start watching these videos and see what you guys are learning, because I'm seeing so many guys at the gym and they're not improving, their muscles aren't growing, and they're coming up to me and they're asking me, "Man, you just get better and better, but I'm not getting better." And it's like, well, what are you watching? And they'll tell me what they're watching. A lot of guys tell me they're watching this kind of stuff, and it gets you started, but it's not going to get you to that advanced level. Okay, this is kind of stuff like, this is like cookie cutter stuff. You guys want to know the secrets, right? You want to know the tricks, the hacks that'll get you where you need to go, so you're not dinking around trying to figure it out. Well, come to Samson Biggz. Okay, I'm Biggz for a reason. Okay, I'm 290 pounds. Okay, huge chest, okay? 21-inch arms, and they're growing too, okay? So we're gonna get you big, and yeah. So that's how I feel about this video. It's decent, but there's a lot of stuff he needs to learn before he's teaching people how to get their chest big. It's your boy Samson Biggz. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back with more videos shortly.